After finalizing the divorce, I started living with my daughter. But about 6 months in, something happened. I was enjoying a day off with my daughter at home when I got a sudden call from Mom. "Hello, Nicole? Listen, Turns out my ex-husband Freddie and my former mother-in-law Jessie had shown up unannounced at my parents' house and let themselves in. I quickly got ready and headed to my parents' house. Upon arrival, Freddie and Jessie were sitting arm in arm on the living room couch, waiting for me. I had no idea why they were there. "Why did you show up at my parents' house like this?" When I asked, Freddie dropped a bombshell.
"I want the money I lent you back."
My name is Nicole, a 40-year-old working woman. I was married to Freddie for 14 years. My daughter Amy was born around the time we got married, so she's already in 8th grade. The three of us were living a very happy life together, and I thought we would continue to build a warm family. I met Freddie at a party and was immediately drawn to his friendly, kind, and cheerful personality. It seems Freddie was also quite fond of me, as we spent the entire party talking to each other. We exchanged contact information and started dating, eventually leading to marriage a year later after Freddie proposed. I was truly happy when we decided to get married, as I loved Freddie dearly. In high school, I had a tight-knit group of 4 friends. We'd always get together whenever something big happened in our lives. When I got engaged, everyone celebrated as if it was their own big day. They all came to my wedding, and I remember them saying they hoped to get married soon too. And just like that, one by one, everyone got married. Our little friend group turned into a circle of married women. We joke about how our get-togethers had matured overnight. Then, I had a baby, and soon enough, everyone else did too. Our group quickly became a circle of mom friends. It felt like we were journeying through life together, and I thought we'd always be close like this. I've been enjoying my life both as a wife and a mom, but being a career woman has been especially fulfilling. After graduating from college, I was assigned to a large company's planning and development department. My days are busy, but my work is rewarding and always a learning experience. According to my friends, I appear to be as tough as nails, but I wouldn't mind actually being that tireless. Supporting and comforting me through my work center life are Freddie and Amy. I'm so tired today. "Oh, Mom, you worked hard today." Little Amy would greet me with a big hug and a smile when I came home from work. Just holding Amy wipes away the day's fatigue.
"Nicole, dinner's ready."
And then there's Freddie, another source of comfort for me. Freddie quit his full-time job to support my career and started working part-time when Amy was born. He even picked her up from school and took on jobs at a local cafe. When I'd get home, a warm meal was always waiting for me, prepared by Freddie. After a tiring day at work, coming home to a warm meal was truly a joy. We'd unwind with Freddie's cooking, tuck Amy into bed, and talk about our day. Life was fulfilling, both professionally and personally. This was possible because Freddie and Amy were understanding of my work. But I started to take their kindness for granted and became more engrossed in my job. As I began to deliver results at work, I got promoted and earned a title. That led to more overtime, and I started coming home later and later. And when I'd finally get home, Amy was often already asleep. So Freddie continued to take on more shifts at the cafe, fully engrossed in his work too.
Lately, I've been really into trying coffee from various specialty stores. Bought some beans today as well. I also picked up some cakes from a new bakery, so let's have them with coffee.
Freddie was so passionate about coffee. He was constantly learning about roasting, different beans, and brewing methods, and practicing them all at his workplace. And because of that, we always had amazing coffee at home. Both Freddie and Amy were so understanding and indulging of my work-centric life that I failed to notice that it was straining our family dynamic. I only realized this when Amy came to me with a concern. "What's up?"
Well, the other day when I was hanging out downtown with my school friends, I saw Dad with another woman.
"What?"
It's not like they were holding hands or anything, but they seemed close. Plus, I've noticed for the last year or so, Dad's on the phone a lot right before you come home, Mom. And there are times he's so into his phone, he doesn't even hear me when I talk to him. He looks happy while he's staring at his phone screen. At first, I thought he was texting you, or maybe you were calling him while you were at work. But after what happened recently, I can't help but wonder if he's talking to that woman.
Amy looked really sad as she said this. Now that she was in middle school, it made sense she'd be sensitive to these kinds of things and find them deeply upsetting. I was also undeniably shocked. I had always believed that Freddie was faithful and put me and Amy first. If he's been having an affair, that would be incredibly heartbreaking. I'm so sorry, Amy. I've been so focused on work and didn't realize what you were going through.
No, don't apologize. I think it's awesome how hard you work, Mom. You don't have to feel sorry about that.
I felt so grateful when Amy spoke those kind words. Thank you, Amy. I'll look into it. And if I find out Jed is cheating, I think I'll file for divorce. Is that okay with you? Amy nodded in agreement when I asked.
Yeah, it would feel gross just being around Dad if he's cheating.
After hearing Amy say that, I felt ashamed for not paying more attention to my family. I knew I had to dig deeper into this for Amy's sake. I immediately contacted a private investigator to look into Freddie's possible affair. And the results were shocking. Freddie was, indeed, having an affair, just like Amy said. They even had photographic evidence. But what was really shocking was who he was having an affair with. It was none other than Margareta, a close friend and classmate from my high school days. I was more shocked by that than by Freddie's infidelity. I felt betrayed by a friend I had always thought was trustworthy and close. Margareta was a housewife and the last among my close friends to get married. Her child is only about 5 years old. Despite that, she was having an affair with my Freddie. When I got the evidence, I was so shocked I couldn't move for a while. If I hadn't been in my own room, Amy or Freddie might have seen me, and that would have been a disaster. I couldn't show these pictures to Amy, and it was too early to confront Freddie. I took a deep breath to calm myself. And then I got a message that one of my good friends had switched jobs. I thought it would be a good opportunity, so I suggested we all get together. Margareta would have never suspected anything if I hadn't been the one to propose the gathering. I succeeded in setting up a gathering of friends just like I planned. And 3 weeks later, I was face to face with Margareta, Freddie's affair partner. During that time, I quickly hired a lawyer and started preparing for divorce. I also told Amy about what I found out and that I'm planning to divorce him. So we spent our days off looking for a new place to live. And before I knew it, the day of the gathering with close friends arrived. First, we chatted about new jobs with friends who had recently switched careers, and everyone caught up on their latest news. Margareta was acting completely normal, seemingly unaware that I knew. It must be nice to have job changes and stuff to talk about. I'm a housewife, so my life is pretty much the same every day. Margareta responds just like that. Well, you have a husband who brings in plenty of money, so you don't need to work. That's not bad, right? Another friend chimes in. I am grateful for that, but yeah, sometimes I do feel a bit bored. Conversations had flowed long enough. It was time. So, is that why you had an affair with someone else's Freddie? What? My comment stunned not just Margareta, but everyone else too. Wait, Nicole, what are you talking about? Margareta turned pale and stayed silent as another friend questioned me. Margareta's been having an affair with my Freddie. What? No way! You're joking, right? I can't believe Margareta would do that. Other friends tried to defend Margareta. Seizing the chance, Margareta joins in. What? Nicole, what are you talking about? Are you sure you didn't mistake me for someone else? Of course, she'd play the innocent card. Is that so? Well, let's make sure everyone else sees it too. With that, I pulled out photos from my bag. The friends were speechless at the photos I laid out on the table. No way! Margareta, why would you? Margareta herself probably never imagined I'd have evidence in the form of pictures. She covered her open mouth with her hand, unable to hide her shock. I was genuinely devastated. Why would you have an affair with my Freddie? Margareta seemed to realize she couldn't escape the situation. I'm sorry, I actually started going to the cafe where Nicole's husband works and found out that he was there. My husband makes good money, but since we got married, he hasn't really been attentive. So I was lonely. Margareta burst into tears. But being lonely isn't an excuse for an affair, especially not with my husband Freddie. I continued the conversation, not swayed by Margareta's tears. Sorry to have to say this in front of everyone, but I'll be demanding compensation from you, Margareta. I also dropped off the paperwork detailing this at your house. Your husband is probably going through it right now. What? Why would you do something so cruel? Cruel? Who's the one cheating despite being married and having kids? You need to face the consequences. Hearing this, Margareta's face turned ashen. We can't really trust Margareta anymore. The rest of us left the restaurant, leaving Margareta behind. I've had my revenge on Margareta, so Freddie's next. He's probably heard from Margareta by now. Sure enough, he was already tipped off by Margareta when I got home.
Hey, what's going on?
What do you mean?
I got a message from Margareta.
About the affair, perhaps?
Why would you expose us like this?
You're the worst, you know that? Pretending to be a good husband while cheating behind my back.
Margareta has a family too. Why would you expose her to her husband?
You're saying that too? People who cheat must think alike. If you've done something wrong, you should be punished. So, I'm divorcing you and demanding alimony and child support. He couldn't deny it. I had all the evidence. Mike agreed to the divorce, but wasn't happy about the financial part. Once I told him I was ready to take this to court with a top-notch lawyer, he finally agreed to pay. So, I divorced Freddie and sold the house we were living in. Amy and I moved into a new condo. I took legal action against Freddie and Margareta, and thanks to my lawyer, I got $30,000 from each of them. Of course, I also demanded child support from Freddie. After the divorce was settled, life with Amy started to get into a new rhythm. Sure, it took a toll on me mentally, but slowly the wound started to heal. Then, about 6 months later, something happened. I was enjoying a day off with Amy when I suddenly got a call from Mom. What she told me was shocking. Freddie and my former mother-in-law Jessie had showed up unannounced at my parents' home and even let themselves in. Dad happened to be out at the time. That's why Mom had called me urgently. I quickly got ready and headed over. When I arrived, Freddie and Jessie were sitting on the living room couch, arms crossed, waiting for me. I had no idea why they were there. Why are you here at my parents' house all of a sudden? When I asked that, Freddie dropped a bombshell.
I want you to pay me back the money I lent you.
What? I've never borrowed money from you.
I spent $1,500 on our wedding. The wedding is all about the bride, so that's like lending it to you. Divorcing me is basically fraud. I'd like to sue you for marriage fraud, but if you pay back the $1,500, we can settle this.
Freddie was making an outrageous demand. Jessie also said, "Pay up already." Come to think of it, Freddie had become a full-time employee at the cafe he was working at after the divorce. I'm pretty sure the cafe didn't pay much. He must be asking for money so aggressively because he's broke. Just so you know, the wedding was about both of us, and I contribute more to our daily living costs. If you look at the grand total, $1,500 seems like pocket change to what I'm providing. So stop making absurd demands that complicate things. Even after saying this to drive them away, the two didn't budge an inch. Then Dad came home. It looked like Dad had gotten a call from Mom and rushed back.
What the heck are you two doing here?
Freddie explained the same thing to Dad, who listened in silence. But you could tell he was past angry and more into disbelief at the ridiculous demands.
In the first place, you're the one at fault for having an affair. If you're going to make such an unreasonable request, leave now.
After Dad said this, Freddie made a heartfelt apology.
Please, Nicole, lend me the money. It's not just from you. Margareta's husband is also asking for compensation, and it's really tight. $1,500. No, even $10,000 will do.
Asking for money even now? Is he out of his mind? I simply said, no, go home. But Jessie was like, get real. You also have a responsibility for the family not working out. And insisted we had an obligation to lend money. A situation with no resolution in sight. Then Dad said,
Fine, I'll get it ready now. Just wait.
And went into another room. Wait a minute, Dad! What are you doing? As I hurriedly went after him, Dad wore a gleeful smile.
Hey, we've got plenty of money, so why not share some with them, right? Haha.
I got the gist when I saw Dad open the closet and pull something out. Ah, this is going to be good. Dad put a stack of bills in an envelope and handed it to Freddie. Freddie and Jessie looked satisfied and left. As soon as they were out, we locked the door and called the cops. The two of them seemed to have checked the envelope as soon as they stepped outside. They immediately came back and started banging on our front door.
What's the deal? This is play money. We don't want this fake stuff.
Freddie shouts that out, fuming with anger. Laughing, I said through the front door to Freddie and the others, "Since I have so much money, I thought I'd share some with you." Then Freddie said,
Don't mess with me.
and banged on the front door even harder. The noise sounded like he was kicking the door. Little did they know they were digging themselves into a deeper hole. When the police arrived, Freddie and Jessie were apparently kicking the front door, and they were arrested on the spot. The neighbors had gathered too, and it seems a lot of people saw Freddie and Jessie get arrested. In the end, instead of getting any money, Freddie ended up having to pay fines for his arrest and compensation for damaging the front door. What's worse, among the people who witnessed Freddie's arrest was a regular customer of the cafe where he worked. The news spread quickly, and Freddie was reportedly fired. Now he's jobless, moved back home, and his parents-in-law are covering the compensation and child support. As for us, I've secured a restraining order against my ex-family. If anything happens, one call and help will be there in a flash. And now, Amy and I continue to share our happy days as usual. I plan on doing well at my job and watching over Amy as she grows.